che comunque il calcio è imprevedibile e le cose non sono mai scontate, quindi è anche la bellezza, no, di questo sport.
Io rappresentavo per questa squadra, era quello che non mollava mai, quello che doveva fare stare sempre su il morale, ma io mi ci trovavo bene perché sono sempre stato uno che mi piaceva dare fuoco ai miei compagni, caricarli prima delle partite.
Il mio sogno che si è avverato è uno dei sogni dei bambini, di tanti bambini.
Il gol è un qualcosa per la gente che riusciamo a fare diventare matti, riusciamo a fare diventare felici e contenti.
Con questa maglia devo veramente fare una performance diversa perché sto rappresentando.
Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, don't sleep yet, but we're back. Another episode of Milanistas 360. So who do I have? As always, best host ever, Lab Gorilla, and Shane is with us.
Buongiorno a tutti, ciao. We've got a lot to go over.
Yeah, so it's been quite a wild week, and we started just before yesterday's game on a bit of a low note, but we came out on top. Finally, the fourth game to snap that losing streak. But other than that, you guys had a great week. How about you, John?
Great week. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Do you guys remember that film? Do you remember the film?
I do.
I think that's how
that's how I think, wasn't it? Yeah.
I think so. I think it was my Tuesday or Wednesday. Train journey turned into a coach journey, turned into a taxi journey. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous situation. And just the day after, train tickets have been increased. It's just so funny. Anyway, yeah, enough rambling on about my journeys. How was your week, Shane?
Yeah, it was okay actually, because I think just my it's kind of like I've become a Zen Buddha, right? Because I've so mentally checked out on the club due to like intense levels of cope that I no longer give a fuck. So it's great. I've reached that kind of Zen paradise, you know. I think it's some sort of fucking intense coping mechanism. So, but basically, yeah, I'm there. So I'm pretty much mentally checked out. So it's great. How about you, Husni?
Yeah, it's been a week of records, especially for the club. I didn't know we could win we could lose 3 in a row. And I was fearing we would have 3 coaches in a season. So a lot of threes would have happened. The only thing we can't do is tripleta and win the more titles than just the Super Copa. But life moves on, and we got to live with it and maybe look forward to another jersey drop, because this club ain't doing well.
No, don't say that. Another jersey drop.
All right, John. So just kick things off with the presentation, and but before that, welcome Fadino and also Kashevit, our regulars.
Yeah, good morning, buongiorno. And Kashevit, good evening. And Kim, so Australia's here. Yay. Both Kashevit and Kim. All right, awesome. And I suspect Fahadinho, your time zone's ridiculous. Probably very early hours of the day, I reckon, no?
No, he's in the Middle East, Fahadinho, right? So it's not so bad.
Is he?
Yeah. It's midday.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool for him. All right. So what do we entitle this, Husni? Remind me.
We're off Milan.
Off Milan.
Off
yes.
Everything else.
Yes. So the 4-headed monster that's literally ripping the entire club apart. And this week has been quite a monumentous one again. The news just doesn't stop. We've got to start at the beginning, as always, and we do have to talk about unfortunately, this. Oh, love technology. So, guys, another game, another red card, another loss. A lot of people said that the Bologna and Lazio games were important to enable us to have any ambition towards that 4th place. Well, now that we've thrown both of them away, that 4th place, I think we can safely say, is gone completely gone. I'd say Vaffanculo to the 4th place. We're most likely, I don't know what we're going for. In fact, Shane, well done in checking out. I'm pretty similar to you, to be honest. Was it a surprise that Pedro got a penalty in the dying seconds of the game to win it? No. I think for a while there, the biggest pleasure I was going to take out of it, I was watching Strasbourg Steve and his watch along. And when it went to 1-1, I was like, Steve, you throwing it, you're drawing against weak teams and all that. And then last second they got the winner. Hasn't your opinion on the game?
Yeah, well, before the game, I had thought that we would have a game to turn it around, and this would be it, because we'll lose to all these lower ranked teams, but we can do it against slightly better opponents, strangely enough. So I thought we would be able to pull it off, but we couldn't. So Lazio started strong, they continued strong, and that last penalty, as some would say, a little bit contentious, but it was given, and yeah, this is the scoreline we were looking at, and yeah, we keep up the momentum. Yeah, conceding 2 goals a game. I think we need to somehow fit that into our club motto or something. 2 goals, just like 2 goals in every
Oh
game.
my God, you're right. You're absolutely right. Shane, how did you think of the game?
Oh, it's great. It's great, really, because my cope levels are so high at this point that I enjoy seeing pieces of shit football players fail for this club. So I was absolutely delighted when Pavlovic got that red card, because I was literally saying it for the last, what's it been, 7-8 months of my life, that he's a detriment to the squad. So yeah, I was kind of, happy enough that when that happened. But of course, yeah, look, we didn't get the results. Right. So what I don't like, I see a lot of fans doing this, is they kind of point to all these individual moments, right, over the last, what's it been, like 4 or 5 games. And it's been like, we lost because a person got sent off, or because of a screw up from Mike, or a screw up from Chow, right? So here's the thing, though, is that's more of a symptom, right, of an underlying issue. Even if we screw up, right, there's more than enough talent on this squad to be winning this game. And no offense to Lazio, but we should be beating Lazio as well when you look at it pound for pound. The problem is none of the players are kind of locked in. I think, as much as I like Cancelo, he's kind of really showing how limited he is, especially consistently playing Musa.
Yeah.
That makes no sense, because you're essentially going in 10v11, right? And even worse when it's João Felix, but we can comment on him later for that bucket of shit performance that happened last night. So, yeah, overall, this game, there's no surprises. Lazio, to be honest, deserved it. Even
especially in that first half.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, what you see in the scoreline here was fully deserved by Lazio, so credit to them.
Yeah.
Can I just add one thing to Lazio? And if you look at the team, yeah, you're right. I completely agree with you, Shane. We should be beating them, but it's more than that. I mean, they don't even have a front shirt sponsor. I mean, these are the sort of things that we can lose to. It really baffles me in terms of how low, or when you're out of if you're out of form, you can really lose to anyone, right? And you, again, like you said, we have the players to do it, but we just can't pull it off.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about the game, we scored an equalizer with 10 men, on the 85th minute. Anyone with half a brain cell would hold on. But of course, that's not us. We go and concede, and we make it even worse, and all hell breaks loose. It doesn't matter, guys. It really doesn't matter. We're out of any kind of conversation about Champions League. So now it's just a matter of what makes you happy. What's in Milan? What is it that you're looking for? Really, that's it. Shall we move to the next game, guys? You happy with that?
Yeah, I just want to answer your question there, John, a little bit. What makes me happy is probably another shirt drop.
This guy, man. This guy, you just can't stop him. Right.
This is what the club needs. It doesn't need actually sporting results. It just needs epoxy 4th or 5th jersey with random shit colors that have nothing to do with the club.
I bet
Okay,
you
so-
Furlani's clipping what I'm saying. I send it to Cardinal. Hey, look what the fans are saying. We
Yeah.
just need more merch.
Yeah.
Right. So let's talk about the game last night, guys. I listened to most of this on the radio, but I'll say the starting lineup. I'll just read it out to remind you. Sportiello in goal because Magnan was suspended because apparently he said something a bit naughty post game to the ref, or I heard in some places that he said something that was blasphemous, and I was like, what? Weird conversation. But anyway, so the back line is Walker, Gabbia, Chow, Theo Hernandez, and then your best friend Shane Musa as a defensive midfielder alongside Bondo. So we see Bondo starting. Alex Jimenez on the right side, Reindeer, Pulisic on the left side, and Jimenez up top, Santi. So to say about this game, we had gaps, guys. We had gaps, and to be completely fair, Hristovic, he scored some bangers, absolute bangers, and you can't really take them away from him. I thought they were fantastic goals, very very nice. On our side, yeah, they gave us a bit of help. I don't think it would have come back if it wasn't that by that own goal, and then Pulisic came good. I don't know what you want to say about this game. I'm really, when it was 2-0 down, I couldn't believe it because Lecce are one of the most dead teams in Serie A, in my opinion. For us to go and lose 2-0 to Lecce would have been, I don't know. I don't know what would have happened. What's your take on it? I'll tell you exactly what Conceição said afterwards, but Shane, you start us off if you want.
Yeah, so there was so shout out to Nathan who's in our chat. He's also on Rossoneri TV as well. He mentioned it too. But so there was a statistic that was getting thrown around when we were losing, and that was if we'd gone on to lose this game, right? I think that would have been the first time it would have been 4 games lost in a row since 1999.
Yes, I heard that too.
So that just kind of tells you how we're basically breaking all records here, which is fantastic. Credit to Redbird. So there's one, do you know the one? So, the one funny part I thought for this game was, John, I don't know if you've got to see the own goal yet, right?
I
But
did.
essentially,
I did
you
see
did.
it, yeah.
So you seen that attempt, and I want to enclose this in parentheses. The attempt, right, from João Felix, right, that led to that goal.
Okay, yeah.
It was right. Chelsea are looking for, what is it, 40 million for a player, right, who can't even get the goal, who can't even get, the ball on target from, whatever, like, what is it, 3 or 4 yards away.
Yeah.
Right. And somehow we're still consistently playing him. I think as bad as he is, though, I think, he's still an upgrade over Musa. I know they're completely different styles of players, but to be honest, even if João Felix gives you something once in every game, that's probably still more than Musa will do for you. So, to be honest, though, guys, we can piss away. We can say goodbye to the UCL qualification because mathematically we need over 70 points, right? And that's pretty much at this point would mean that we'd have to win all of the remainder of our games for the rest of the season, which we're just incapable of doing. If we're scraping it against Lecce, who are a relegation squad, God help us, we still have to play we still have to play Inter in the return, don't we? In the league.
No, we already played them.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, we played them. Okay.
Yeah. It's in the Copa. We gotta play them.
Twice.
It's in the Copa. Right. So,
2 legs.
Yeah. So if we have to play anyone of quality, we're not winning that game.
No.
So it is what it is.
Hasni.
Yeah. I want to start with some highlights because I thought there were some moments that I thought was quite all right. So Bondo, I like what he showed. He started the game, and we need players like that. Then if we talk about another highlight, again, our right Baresi, or the Postdini, we call him.
Yes, saved us.
Yeah, a few pods ago. Yeah, he came to our rescue again. Otherwise, we'll be looking at a 3-all draw. And
Yeah.
but yeah, other than that, I'm glad that Gabia got some game time. I wouldn't pin the second goal on him because I thought that they got in between our lines, and yeah, our midfield really nowhere to be seen. But when it comes to the lowlights, I agree with Shane. I'm not seeing a 40 million in João Felix. I like what he did with the assist, though. I mean, if he came out and tell him, yeah, I was targeting to really get an own goal off one of the defenders, I would give him that 40 million. He'll be that good to get that goal in. But but many wouldn't credit him for that goal. And I even said it in our group chat. And yeah, for those who are listening, you're welcome to join us in the group chat and just drop us a DM and we'll add you in. But it would either be we would lose the game 2-1, or we would need a lot of help from those in the game, but not of our colors. So we need help from the ref. We need help from the defender. And yeah, I guess the last goal, I would have to credit Liao quite a bit. And I would have to really worry at this point is that, can we win any game without Liao?
No.
I mean, are
No.
we? He is such a super sub, and if I were him, I would. And this is why he smiled during the game, right? He probably knows it. This team can't do anything without me. So if he would ever to come up for a renewal again, if he is even thinking about talking to this management about renewing his contract, he might as well ask for like 100 million a season, because this team can't do
Honestly,
anything without.
To be 100% serious here, though, right? If we're really trying to do our best and basically win as many games till the end of the season, Leao and Pulisic have to start. So does Jimenez, so does Teo. There can't be all of these bullshit, moral high horse moves from Cancelo, which is, if I don't like the way that Leao is training or something like that, I'm not going to play him. It doesn't matter. He needs to play. He's probably one of the best players that we have. We have to be playing all of our top fucking quality players. Forget the fucking Copa Italia. I couldn't give a shit about it. If it means that we don't win the Copa, but somehow miraculously we go on and qualify for the UCL, then I'm all for that. But we can't be making these stupid decisions where it's like, we're going in playing a team and Leao is on the bench.
But I have to ask Shane, is that if we're playing, funnily enough, a lower ranked team, because we're quite low right now, do we need Leao to start? Because he can't be playing every single game from the full 90. So that worries me a little bit. And
we do though, man, because
yeah.
If you think about it, right, like the lack, because we'd said this, right, was it a couple of pods ago, but times like this is more evident. So if you look at the likes of Inter, right, and if you look at their backups, right, there's not a huge substantial drop in quality if they bring on like a backup player, instead of one of their starters. But like when you look at us, right, it's like we're bringing off, let's say, bringing off Leao and putting on Sotil. Bringing off Pulisic and putting on Chukwueze, like they're not even. I think it's kind to call them mid-league level players. They're just really not. Now there might be
a mid-league level team,
but like when you look at the drop in quality, man, it's huge. So the thing is we have to, like, we have, basically Cancelo is going to have to go with his tail between his legs and play these players, because God help us, we're not getting UCL unless we don't. And to be honest, I think it's mathematically nearly impossible.
UCL, Shane. Forget UCL.
No, I know. No, I get you. But what I'm saying is right, John, is like, surely, right, even if it's like one more loss, pretty much, right, from any of the remainder of our games, pretty much means it's mathematically impossible, right? But surely, right, in order to prevent that, you would literally go in and say, I will play my best players. I mean, what will break my fucking heart here, right, is if we go in, I don't know how the Coppa Italia games are lining up, and I don't know who we're playing before then, right? But it will break my fucking heart, right, if we don't see a full strength squad in the Serie A, right, because he's saving them for the Coppa Italia. Because at the end of the day, like, who gives a flying fuck about the Copa, really? You know?
Yeah, so let's just say something about the subs, Shane. 45 minutes he brought on Rafael Leao. Then 62 minutes Santi Jimenez comes off and Tammy Abraham comes on. So this is to your point about the drop in quality. It's astronomical there. Joao Felix comes on at 62nd minute as well for Bondo. Fofana comes on, which, you know, a lot of people forget Fofana didn't start the game here. That's why he started Musa and Bondo together. I just do not understand this insistence on Musa. He's moving him around the pitch into different positions. I don't understand it. And
Say
Musa,
the K word, John. You know you want to.
no, I'm not going to say it. you say it.
He's the new Krunic. I'm going to say it. Musa
Okay.
is the new Krunic.
Well, he hasn't yet played him as a striker, but it wouldn't be far off if he does. And then Sutil comes on for Musa actually on the 74th minute as well. So a lot of people said, you know, you can't give Conceição credit. And I want your comments on Conceição, actually, guys, before I move on to some of his comments post-game. I think no, he's making really poor decisions. And once again, like every other manager we've had, throwing a ton of bodies, all 5 subs on to try and rescue a match that you're 2-0 down on does not count as tactical masterclass. Your opinion on that, Husney?
Yeah. If you ask me, I would credit him a little bit. I mean, he probably knows, or he's probably spoken to Liao enough to say that, okay, I really need your help. My job's on the line, and you just need you to do something on the left-hand side, which is true. But I wouldn't blame him entirely because we've spoken about this. The lack of players that he has to choose from. For example, Theo. Yeah, we've spoken about Theo. How Theo's in decline, being ineffective. Theo is captain, by the way. Mike is not around. Theo is captain.
Ugh.
And there's no one who you can sub in for Theo. So if Theo were to get injured, or if Theo were to literally fall asleep in the middle of the pitch, he will still be captain. So that's going to be the big worry to me. Then for Tammy, you might call me a little bit of a Tammy defender, but I like the fact that he works hard. He likes to run. Might not score goals all too often, but yeah, maybe we need a little bit of that, especially if the energy level is dropping. Jimenez, in the first half, he was really trying, and if everyone remembers, there were 2 VAR goals that were clocked for offside. I mean, by inches or centimeters, if they were onside, we'd be having a different conversation at this point. But this is why it really irks me, is that in the first half, consider this scenario. In the first half, if we didn't concede, we would be talking about a dominant 3-0 win. I don't get why, after so many games, and Conceição does like to use this as an excuse, we cannot do something about the defense. Gabriel Witiao is not working. Tomori is not working. Pavlovic is not working because he's, of course, got the red card. I don't know what else you can do with this defense, and you have to really wonder what's going on with training. If players cannot make a simple pass that gets intercepted, then we end up in a very dangerous situation. That was the first goal, by the way. Rangers pass was intercepted. They came right at us, and yeah, a world-class goal was delivered against us. So a lot to blame on Conceição, but I honestly don't know, if we brought in another manager at this point, how can we fix it? And just to give him a little bit of credit, this coach, he's really fighting for his job. He has zero time to put in any system or any vision. He just wants to win games because everything's at stake.
All right. Shane?
So I have to give Conceição some credit, right? This is not a normal situation that he's walking into, right? It's not like he's gone to Bologna, right? Where there's it's not like he's gone to Bologna and he's kind of, they don't have a sporting director and he's just trying to do his best, right? This is a situation where he's going into like a high pressure situation, right? With no sporting director. There's no one guiding the ship, right? So he has to do things that are above his role, right? And then, do the normal manager stuff. I can call him out when it comes to stuff like Musa. The way that I'm looking at the Musa situation, And it's the same way that I'm looking at the defensive situation, guys. I know we back up Gabia a lot, right? We back up even, Tamori, Chow sometimes, right? Some people always, for some fucking reason, back up Pavlovich, right? None of them are the quality that we need, right? And I think they're just not, right? And I know I like Gabia, I like him as a backup, I really do. But whoever we play in the back, right, we're screwed. They're not of quality, right? The whole fact that Moose is playing, I think that tells you a bit. I think we're being a bit biased, and I can understand why, because we wanted the Futur thing to work out, right? But that tells you, right, that there isn't anyone of sufficient quality that could knock Musa out of this team, and that tells you, all you need to know. Now, I don't like the desperation tactics from Conceição, because seems to be how he's winning games, and it's being a recurrent pattern. And I think the longer that he goes on, he can't use the excuse, well, I haven't had sufficient time to train the team. It's like, dude, we understand you came in a really bad situation when was it, January?
Yeah.
Right? So we understand, you had limited time with the players, right? And, and all this, right? But the thing is you're only realistically playing in one competition now. Right? You have a full
week.
A full week of training these players, right? And when you're still seeing all of these calamitous fuck-ups, I think that's just kind of saying to you, we don't have players of quality, and it seems to be getting whatever about Tammy, right? I think he's not as bad as Jovic, but he's not a quality player. Musa has an engine on him. He doesn't have any skills to be a professional football player, at least that I can see, but he has an engine on him, and I can understand maybe why he's getting a nod, because who else do we have? Really, right? RLC is permanently broken, I think he's dealing with it the best that he can do. I'm saying that that's not sufficient enough, but my big argument is on this, right? Unless we get in someone boring as fuck like Allegri, right, this situation doesn't get fixed, because Allegri needs to give us some defensive solidity, because honestly, we don't have it. And the only way that fucking we'll get defensive solidity, guys, is by buying new players. Because our defense just isn't it. I'm sorry.
Great point there. Great point there, Shane. I wanted to just give you a bit of data on Leao. So he's played a total of 39 games, or at least been part of 39 games over the season so far. He has scored 10 goals and he's had 9 assists. So 19 goal contributions. So that's to your point about the importance of the player. And a lot of them, as you've now seen recently, has been off the bench. So he is a really important player for us. On Conceição, let me just give you a little bit of a comment. So after the game, he was interviewed and he said, stavolta atteggiamento corretto, ma il carattere va messo tutti I giorni. So it basically means at this time we had the right attitude, but this character needs to be shown every single day. I don't know if I would say that this is the correct kind of contribution or effort that you're putting into the game. You went 2-0 down at one point, guys. Defensively, it was a shocker. But, as you said, Shane, the interviewer said you've now had a full week. Finally, you've got a bit of time to actually train your players, and hopefully we'll start to see the effects of that. And he was, to my mind, a little bit overly positive, but it's nice, I guess, for once for him to be a little bit positive, because everything has been so negative. Just want to say a quick hello to Ray and Carmelo as well, and Pete, who said he loves the fact that we're doing the pods at this time in the morning. But I don't think, Shane Husney, that this manager stays any longer than this summer. I think he's gone. I don't think there's anything. I genuinely think he was brought on to try and rescue something, just like the entire January transfer window.
Yeah, but the thing is as well, John, right? And this is kind of why I'm a bit it's not. I 100%. I don't believe Conceição is the guy, right, for us. I don't, right. But my concern though is that I don't think that there is a guy for us that can help. Because you see, I think that the problem is basically the overall project and the lack of responsibility that those guys higher up are willing to take. And so when you have a fucked up structure like that, where, you know, if you have the top of the organization, right, people are just trying to push the pressure downwards instead of actually, you know, being responsible for what they're doing. You know, shit is evident, right? Because everyone underneath then starts collapsing, and, you know, and it's kind of like the snake eating its own tail, right? And this is kind of what we're seeing, right? So while I don't believe Conceição is, you know, he's not her guy, right? But the thing is it's not going to matter who we get.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. So you know, to Fardinho's point, let's remember who's actually at fault for putting this entire project together. Trust me, the three of us, the four of us, Nico included, do not forget that. None of us in the chat forget that. Fardinho, you know, you point the finger every day to Forlani. I point the finger every day to Ibrahimovic. And, you know, the finger needs to be pointed to Moncada as well. But pre-game, he gave a disgusting interview about, oh, there's still a lot to play for. We have 11 games that are going to be like 11 finals. It's just, shut your face. Things like that it's infuriating. It's pathetic. It's petty. This club is much bigger than all of this. I don't want to hear Moncada say we've got 11 finals. We don't have 11 finals. It's
did he really say 11 finals?
Yes.
Because it's going to end up like 11 finals at the time we play them. That's going to end up like... This guy doesn't think before.
But it's even... Do you know what's the tone deaf bullshit about when it's the guy saying it? Like, it's like Moncada, you know. I mean, look, I know you've done great things in your scouting career, right? Especially earlier on. He's done great things. But, like, it's kind of... So imagine, right? It's like, why wouldn't you put Franco Baresi up there to be giving those kind of interviews, right? Because Franco Baresi is more than qualified to say, right, oh, these are like 11 finals, and people would listen because he's one of the greatest players to ever play the fucking game, right?
I don't think so, Shane, because if Baresi said that, it would be like the guy.
Yeah. I think Baresi wouldn't say that. Baresi wouldn't say that. That's probably why Shane, they don't put him up there.
Right, but the thing is imagine how tone deaf it is coming from a guy whose only football like knowledge is gotten from watching VHS tapes.
He's probably too young for VHS, isn't he?
You need someone like Caldara to say stuff like that.
Yeah. What's Rodrigo Eli doing these days? Fuck it, throw him up there.
Right, let's move this on because we've got a lot to cover still. So, quick look at the league table, guys. We've got ourselves have now played 28 matches, 44 points. Whoa, we're up to 8th, guys. Watch out. I'm getting a bit, you know, dizzy. It's a bit high for us. I don't know what to say. Pointless. And I did want to have this discussion now. The Futura saga. In case people have not kept an eye on this, you know, finally this week there's an article in one of the major papers saying maybe Kirovsky wasn't the right person for this project. We are now joint bottom, and the reason I'm showing Ascoli here is just to point that we are 10 points away from safety. So the team has to watch out, because the very last place in this league is automatic relegation. Yeah, 16th to 19th goes into a playoff to survive. So Milan must not be in that very final position, or I think the project will be wiped. Do you want to say anything about the Futuro project, Hosni?
Yeah, I have some questions, because we did sign some older players into Futuro. So I'm not so sure how these deals are then structured. It's like, and I mentioned it, I think, last week, is that I worry about some of the players that we do have there that I think have bright futures or can have bright futures, but are absolutely destroyed in terms of mentality and morale because of this particular project. And as usual, and mark my words, this definitely will happen. If we were to lose this Futuro project, no blame will go to his management. I bet you people will be quiet about Kirovsky. So overall, is a disaster. I don't know when we can hit the reset button, if we ever can, or just give up completely.
Yeah. Shane?
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, really, on the scale of things, right? The trajectory of our club at the moment, the Futuro is the least of my concerns, because in the worst case scenario, right, all Cardinale has to do is find another club just to, franchise as Futuro next year and then transfer all the players over to it. So I couldn't really, to be honest, it's a failed project just like the rest of it. I do think it's kind of key to note though here, guys, right? While I know that there's a lot of kids playing on the Futuro, right? And they're getting pushed around by 30 and 35-year-old guys, right? Yeah, I think this probably kind of speaks to the quality of the players that are in it. So while we can easily kind of fall into the bias of, oh, they must be the best young players ever, and we probably have a Yamal fucking lining up for us, we just don't realize it yet. I think we're kind of seeing now that that's kind of, it's rose tinted glasses. The Futuro being what it is, though, it's just another failed project to go along with Redbird. I can firmly put this one, though, on Ibrahimovic, whereas the rest of it, I think it's a combination of everything else. I think, if you get a guy in that's used to, eating his fucking cheeseburgers over in the MLS, fail there, and then for some reason, because Ibrahimovic, you get, pulled into this project. I mean, at least we can see, right, Ibrahimovic is 100% fail here. So Redbird or not, I think this is enough of an indictment on his skills and his decision making. So, he needs to get the fuck out, really.
It does. You're absolutely right. And Ray, we're going to talk about that topic in just a minute. Just wanted to point out, Carmelo says, forget about it, Shane Baresi was great on the pitch, great personality, but outside of it, he's harmless. Fair enough. Let's give you that. Now let's move on to the next one. This is a mention of a sports analytics conference that was held in Boston, I think on the 6th of March. I whacked the date on there. I actually watched part of this. In fact, I watched a part with Cardinale. But what came out for me is that Cardinale is an idiot. He's irrelevant. And I was so impressed by the other panel member, Michelle Kang. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about the answers that they gave. First of all, I'll tell you a little bit about Cardinale. He said he made a minority investment in Liverpool FC as part of Fenway Sports. He knew about Klopp. He knew about Slot. That was the first thing that kind of shocked me, that he knew the Liverpool coaches. But so, as a minority shareholder, he's done that. Yet I can guarantee you that he wouldn't have had a clue who Fonseca was. He wouldn't have had a clue who Conceição was. He wouldn't have a clue about Lopetegui or anything like that before these guys came to him about it. So he also mentioned something that was quite interesting, which is Liverpool have done something incredible. They got the combination of the right management and the right coaching staff on the sporting side together, and they are a huge success story. And I felt that when he said that, it was almost like pointing a finger, saying that combination doesn't easily happen or often happen. But it's actually in other discussion points where he really, really sank. So there was one question. So Jessica Gelman was the actual person asking the questions, guys, right? And she said, in the arena, in your sports arena or investment arena around sports, who is it that you look up to? Who is it that you're trying to learn from? And how do you feel about the sport and the acquisition? And Michelle Kang, so just to give you an idea, Michelle Kang owns Washington Spirit, Olympique Lyonnais Féminine, and London City Lionesses. So she's gone in, she's bought 3 female football teams, and her whole thing is like women's sport, right? She's giving a donation of $30 million to US soccer, women's US soccer, to try and help them grow over the next few years. She's a billionaire success story. But you know what she said? She said, oh my God, when I go and watch the Lionesses, I'm telling you, my life is going to get shorter because of the stresses I go through, because, you know, I wanted to score a goal. I wanted to win. That passion that came through that discussion from this investor, Cardinale had zero. When he was asked the question, who do you look up to in the, you know, I'm going to hate this word, guys, I'm sorry, in the ecosystem, he turned around and said, I look up to no one. I look to no one. Whilst Michelle Kang said, I look to other club owners, I look to the regulatory bodies, the actual leagues, all that kind of stuff. So on one side, you're the person who has absolute awareness of the environment around them, the other teams around them, and wants to use that to improve things, and he's passionate about the project. And on the other side, you've got a man who's so sterile, I think he shoots blanks.
You know, I bet you Michelle should have just said, I look to all the other owners except for Jerry, because he doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
I wish he yeah. And the other thing he did was so absolutely unbelievable. He spoke over her every single time. It's such I just hate the guy, honestly. So as I said, he knew a lot about Liverpool FC. He did not mention Milan once, which he,
Oh, lad, but that's a red flag right there,
yeah.
right? So if you know, so you're referring to the fact that you had a side hustle kind of going on with Liverpool, right? And then you're associating, you know, your success with basically you're tying that to Liverpool,
Yeah.
right? But then when you're not mentioning like what you're fully invested in, right? Like Milan because you can, right? Then that shows you all you need to know basically, and it doesn't fucking surprise me. But I'm shocked the fact that he didn't in some way reference Milan and basically say, oh look, we're still working on it and we want to achieve X, Y, Z. But the fact that he hasn't,
No,
you know,
he did not. And Ray's got the point. Jerry speaks about his minority investment, won't speak about his biggest investment because he'll be embarrassed by it. It shows a complete failure, the actual biggest investment. He talks about a minority shareholding and how successful they are, but as you said, the majority shareholding, what's the point? Because it's shown. He said, I won't take advice from anybody. I don't follow others. I lead. Well, he's come in and tried to redraw Serie A, and he has absolutely failed in everything he has done. Right.
John, at this juncture, I do want to add something, and this
Go on.
we can really assess how things are with quite a bit of context. So when it came to all those seasons ago, when we were talking about that juncture between Redbird and InvestCorp, I remember what a lot of fans were saying about trying to be sustainable and deliver result, Moneyball, and all that BS that we know now for certain that doesn't work. And now I'm just looking because the new season for Netflix, Drive to Survive, has landed, and it shows how McLaren has reached the top of F1. Yeah, you being an F1 fan, you know about this. So McLaren is, I think, in large part owned by InvestCorp. So if you can see in terms of the ownership, what sort of difference it makes, and all this BS about balance sheets and all that, it counts for nothing at the end of the day. So I just want to throw that in, and yeah, all these things that you mentioned about when it comes to the tough questions, asking about Jerry, he's ashamed and he should be, and he should be embarrassed because it's all he's doing. At the end of the day, it's all he's doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I'll read out Fahadinho's comment here. Michelle Kang was brilliant. She's more knowledgeable than Jerry. She actually stole the show, guys. If you had watched this, you would have been like, oh my God, there is literally passion oozing from this person who's bought some lower league club in England, and she's setting up one of the biggest training centers in women's football in the whole of London. I mean, that's passion, guys. That's someone that wants to improve things. And I was just thinking, please, can we have an owner like this that actually wants to see success, who loves it, not someone who just doesn't care, keeps talking about we need to bring in more revenues in order to then have some effect on the sporting side. What are you talking about? It's insane. So can we move on to the next topic, which has come up this week, which is the San Siro? Okay, I'll give you a good update. So in the Gazzetta is Mayor Sala, once again the mayor, vendiamo San Siro entro l'estate. We will sell the San Siro by summer. And Milan and Inter have submitted their plans to the council. Okay, guys? So to read you information on this on an actual stadium blog, believe it or not, it actually exists. The people that blog about stadiums being built. After years of waiting, Milan and Inter finally presented their economic financial plan, the so-called DOC-FAP, the Document of Alternative Development Projects for the San Siro area. The site has been of interest to Milan and Inter since 2019. After nearly 5 years, it seems the moment of truth has finally arrived. Most of the document remains confidential. Guys, remember, things will get leaked. The things will get leaked and we will see it soon enough. But the stadium is planned to be 71,500 seats. 13,000 will be VIP. Total investment amount, this is what makes me think BS. Total investment amount will exceed 1 billion euros. The new stadium will be built on the current parking lot and part of the park, while the Miazza will only be partially demolished once the new venue is completed. The reason is for something we discussed earlier, which has been called of cultural significance, right, by the Heritage Council or whatever. So you can't touch certain parts of that stadium. Construction is expected to begin in 2027, after the Milan Cortina 2026 Winter Olympics. Completion is not predicted any time before 2030. Now, if your question is, how much, the offer at the moment from Inter and Milan is unknown, but the land has been valued at 197 million euros only. Okay. So that's where we are at the moment. There's nothing much to say here. There's going to be, Giuseppe Sala said, there's now going to be a public tender, 30 to 45 days. Obviously, no one else is going to come through to buy the land except for Inter and Milan. But they don't expect any movement on this in terms of actual construction in 2027. If Cardinale is still there and Redbird are still there in 2027, I don't know. I'll be a Monza fan or something. I don't know what I will be by then. I can't imagine watching this shit for another 2 years.
So
anything to say about this?
We'll have the best stadium in Serie B.
Right.
That would be great.
Has that ever happened? It's like shared stadium, one team in Serie A and one team in Serie B.
Oh my God. Wow. That could be a first again.
Didn't Torino and Juve share for a while? Must have happened. I'm fairly sure it has, yeah.
I can't think of it, but okay. Hasni, anything on these numbers, on these dates?
Yeah, so again, I think this is getting close to being quite confirmed. But again, just to really put it into the light, absolute con from day one, orchestrated by Redbird and his clowns and the circus that is that management, promising San Donato and all that BS. And we spoke about this, quite a while back. I think Johnny did great research about this before, but how that idea was a long shot, and now where we're at, back to square one. I mean, if this deal could have been pulled off seasons ago, I think we would have been in a much better shape, and maybe we would have better investors rather than a Redbird. So, but if you look at it from the other side, is this then the point where Jerry decides, okay, we have something solid, we finally own something that we can build a stadium on, it's time to sell? That is probably the only saving grace that I'm looking forward to.
That's seriously what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that if you look at the figure, 197 million euros, right? You put 100 million euros in, you sell the club, because you'll say, that's it. Now we own the land. You can do whatever you want with it, and hopefully find an investor for that. I'm praying that is the trigger point for Jerry to get the hell out of the club. So we can't have this for another, guys, we can't have this for another 2 years. We can't. We simply cannot. Okay, happy for me to move on? Yes. Let's go to the next bit. And here is, on Nico's request, all the best, Nico. He wanted to talk about management. So I have done a little bit of looking into things and rules. And actually, there's been a lot of talk this week, as all of our subs will know, about sporting director, guys. Okay. The fact that Milan doesn't have one. So I went online. I said, what are the Serie A regulations? As a matter of fact, it is not a kind of cornerstone of Serie A in terms of being allowed to play that you must have a sporting director in place. It just happens that Milan thought to themselves, we could have a false sporting director, a pseudo sporting director, because it doesn't do anything for us. These guys decided, look at them. I'm not going to point the finger at Baresi because he's an honorary vice president, and Scaroni, really, he's just a spokesperson. Forlani and Moncada and Ibrahimovic, of course, but he's independent of Milan. That's why he's not in this picture. But they decided amongst themselves that it was not necessary for Milan to have a dedicated specialist sporting director to run the club, because they knew better. Well, we now fully understand that just doesn't work, and everyone's been screaming for a professional sporting director to come in. And this week there's been a lot on the news about butting of heads between Ibrahimovic having certain candidates in his mind, Forlani having other candidates in his mind, Moncada having other candidates in his mind. It's quite pathetic in the way you look at it. Moncada is, as you know, going for training to become a sporting director. I hope he gets it and goes somewhere else, because don't try that here. It isn't a club to be trying your first stint of sporting director. So let's talk about potential candidates, and let's just finishing off the management. You see a chief financial officer, by the way, another Elliott person, and then a chief commercial officer, and then chief comms officer. So I'm going to say thanks to Yusuf. I mean, our WhatsApp group is very active. It's lots of very passionate Milan fans who are constantly sharing all the news on this. And so we have been discussing everything on the news this week. And Yusuf pointed out, well, Forlani's basically done, as we know. Jerry has been over in Boston. He's been over in New York. And Forlani decided, I'm the CEO. I'm going to fly over and I'm going to cut the legs off from Moncada and Ibrahimovic by talking directly to Jerry and convincing him that I am going to be the one responsible as the CEO for hiring of a new sporting director. The latest news is that Forlani has identified 4 potential candidates. I'm just going to mention some here. Fabio Paratici, former sporting director of Tottenham.
AKA the convict.
The convict, yeah. Igliatare, that's Lazio, isn't it? Igliatare. And then there is the former sporting director. This guy, I think, is gone, Andrea Berta. 2 new names have come up, which are, let me see their name, Marcus Kroos and Thiago Scuro. If I remember correctly. So Marcus Kroos is from Eintracht and Marcus Scuro is Monaco, if I'm correct, in the research there. So, yeah, the absolute chaos that's going on in the club has now stretched all the way through to them realizing, all right, we need a sporting director. The big discussion in our chat group has been, it doesn't matter who comes in, even a sporting director, unless they have absolute control. And some of these senior figures that have been mentioned will not accept being put in place and not being given control to make decisions on the sporting side. I think this is why Ibra, Moncada and Forlani have avoided putting a sporting director in place, because they didn't want a professional sporting director in place, because they didn't want someone to push them around and push back. If they go ahead with this as part of what I call a considered emergency measure, it will be I don't think these guys, for example, Tare, he just wouldn't take the kind of crap that someone that's being handed out at the moment. Now, if Forlani, Kashevitz says if Forlani gets his way, it will be a non-Italian. I think that, there's a high chance of that. What's your opinion on the whole discussion around the sporting director, Shane?
Yeah, so the Paratici person, I think reading into it, Elliot are not too happy with that because of the, potential or the issues that he had before, which is why he couldn't practice. So apparently Redbird wanted him and Elliot said no. So Forlani apparently wants to go with Iglitare. It's going to be Tare, right? You know why. I mean, it just makes sense. He's been moneyballing at Lazio before Moneyball was Moneyball. Do you know what I mean? He knows the league. It's not, keeping in, I guess, keeping in context of where we are as a club as well. It's, it's not going to be a sporting director that's going to get us winning the league. It's just going to be someone who's going to do just enough. Iglitare is perfect for that. So again, and this new sporting director as well, dude, it's kind of a bit wrecked as well, because I mean, you see how embarrassing the news reports are, right? That it's like, there's too many chefs at the moment. So you have Elliot who are involved and they want to do things by the book as far as, them wanting in a specific profile. And so that's what Forlani's after, because obviously he's Elliot. But then you have, people who own us on paper, Redbird, they want a different profile. And now they have to have meetings over. I mean, it's like nothing ever gets done.
Yeah. Yeah, great, Shane. Thank you for the reminder. There's actually a comment in the newspaper saying that Milan are under no hurry. They're in no hurry to hire a sporting director at all. They said, the way they're putting it in the press is, we're going to take our time and make the right decision. More likely, we're going to take our time and save as much money as possible in his wages.
100%, dude. Because this is the thing, and if it's not Tare, it's going to be someone who's just going to, it's going to be a box ticking exercise where Cardinale wants to keep the fans somewhat placated, so he just gets in a mouthpiece. It's not going to be anyone of quality that's going to change things up for us, So, and we still have Forlani that's going to be pulling the trigger on any transfers anyway, so nothing is going to change there. So, just get ready for 2027. I'm just I'm aligned with what Hosni's saying, and this is probably copium. But I'm hoping what's going to happen is that, now that Cardinale has a definitive plan for the stadium, he can sell that as a project and kind of go, okay, balance sheets are great, guys. We have 20 limited jerseys a season that the stupid fucking fan base are okay to buy, and they keep buying them. And then, so we can factor in all this bullshit, and then he can, sell it. And I'm hoping that's what happens, because Jesus Christ, can you imagine him being here? Because this is Italy as well, right? So it's not going to be finished in 2030. It's going to be finished in 2032.
Shane, exactly, man. I was like, what on earth? You actually think he'll make it in 3 years? You're on drugs. You're absolutely on drugs.
No way.
No.
Now the thing is, Cardinale won't understand this, right? But I'm hoping if he just, if he can just do the right thing. Because even if Cardinale came out and sold us, I wouldn't have any hard feelings, despite all the bullshit that he's done, because at least you can kind of go, okay, it was a waste the last couple of years, but, he's done the right thing, and he's just, he's selling us to someone with actual money that wants sporting success. That's what I hope for, really.
Yeah, we have to. Hosni, your opinion on the DS?
Yeah, aligned with what you guys have said. The timing, I was thinking about the timing when we were speaking, when you're talking about that, John. So we'll probably, or the biggest impact the sporting director is going to have is or getting closer to the transfer window. So in terms of where we are as a club, we're so far away from thinking about that. It was about saving our ass, basically, from this league position. So I do see that there is no real hurry. I don't think it's really about the wages. It's more the fact that right now the priorities are elsewhere, but they know they have to think about it. And I hope the timing of Moncada's whatever course he's studying to become a potential sporting director, I hope he probably fails a few exams and he just can't make that cut, because I'm sure he's going to want to throw his hat into the ring, so that's probably not going to happen. But other than that, yeah, it's not going to really make a difference. Come to think about it, they're probably going to end up with a yes man. And if you've seen, for those who are watching and baseball showed on the screen, Ibra's name is nowhere on those photos. So we have one guy who's essentially outside of the system, who has authority because no one dares question him, thinking that he has somehow been appointed by Cardinale. But guess what? Forlani's got it black and white now. So I don't know what Ibra's involvement is at all, or maybe possibly if Ibra's on his way out, maybe this is how the management try to throw each other under the bus, and whoever
So
gets the
the
last kick doesn't
the
come up
report.
first. Yeah.
So after the meeting that they had in New York, the reports were that Redbird have backed down essentially because the actual proper owners of our club, Elliot, came and said, "Listen, you can't do this." Right. So basically, they've kind of decided that Forlani has the last shout, and they're going to be retiring Ibra.
Well, I hope so. I really hope so, Shane. He's been an absolute chaos machine within the club. He's awful. Everything about what he's done has been awful for the club. To me, he has destroyed anything that he had. I used to look up to that guy. I used to love him when he was a player. What he did, to me, the arrogance was perfect as a player. In management, no.
He doesn't know what he's doing. But
he
the thing is
but he pretends that he does.
You see, this is the thing, right? Because I cannot blame him for not knowing what he's doing, because no one at the club knows what they're doing. Right? But the thing is, there's times where if you don't know what you're doing, the best thing that you can do is shut up and listen, right? And then learn as you go, right? But he's not the type of person that's doing that. And the problem is because he's just a very, vociferous, kind of loud person, right? In general, the shit he comes out with, it makes us look even worse than we are.
Yeah, so. Completely agreed. I think, can you guys remember all the names? Should we try? I want to say quick thank you to Fahadinho, Ray, Kachavit, Kim, Carmelo, Pete, right? Have I missed anyone for joining us today? Hopefully we haven't missed anyone.
I think I think you got them all. There's also one bot that was.
Nah, I'm not going to say thank you to the bot. No, but so guys, I'll say this: I can't stand the idea of Jerry being there till 2027. I'm not sure anything he's going to do this summer is going to make me feel any confidence that things are going to get any better if he stays. So I hope Husney's point is right. I hope that buying the land means that he can finally sell a complete project and say, look, there's a stadium attached to this. Now we own the land. You can do whatever you want here. Redraw the map, and someone comes in like Michel Kang or someone who wants to really have some passion for the club. I would love for that to happen. I would be desperate if Cardinale stays beyond the summer. I'm not joking, guys. And even worse, if Furlani's there, we're in huge trouble. If Furlani and Ibra are there beyond the summer, we're in massive trouble. And I don't know. To everyone, I don't know what I would do, because I can't stand watching Milan being the butt of everyone's jokes, including our own now, which is really sad. That's my end of that, and I'm gonna say Forza Starfish.
Forza Starfish, and again, thanks to everyone for joining. And as a reminder, you can catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can send us DMs on Instagram, also on YouTube. You can leave us a comment. We check those comments, by the way. And I didn't say it earlier before, but Ramadan Kareem to those who are fasting for this month. Look forward to another month of, how can I say, celebration towards the end, if we do make it through this period. Okay,
Forza
yeah.
Monza,
So
fuck it, I'm out.
No. Ok,
All
ciao a
right,
tutti, ciao.
okay, Forza Milan. Bye everyone.
Bye.
Che comunque il calcio è imprevedibile e le cose non sono mai scontate, quindi è anche la bellezza, no, di questo sport.
Io rappresentavo per questa squadra, era quello che non mollava mai, quello che doveva fare stare sempre su il morale, ma io mi ci trovavo bene perché sono sempre stato uno che mi piaceva dare fuoco ai miei compagni, caricarli prima delle partite.
Il mio sogno che si è avverato è uno dei sogni dei bambini, di tanti bambini.
Il gol è un qualcosa per la gente che riusciamo a fare diventare matti, riusciamo a fare diventare felici e contenti.
Con questa maglia devo veramente fare una performance diversa.